Hello, this is Heather of Shutterbug 101. Today we'll be going over the Fujifilm XP140, the little waterproof, shockproof point-and-shoot camera. Let's get started. The Fujifilm XP140 is a user-friendly, waterproof and shockproof point-and-shoot camera. This camera is waterproof up to 82 feet and shockproof up to 5.9 feet. This camera features a 16 megapixel sensor, has a continuous drive at 10 frames per second, but it only has JPEG shooting ability, so if you're not into Photoshop, this is a great little travel camera. It has video capabilities, weighs less than half a pound, and has built-in Wi-Fi to transfer photos directly to your wireless device while you're on vacation. In today's walkthrough, we will be going over the buttons, doors, and menus to help your confidence in this camera before your next trip. So, going over this really bright and colorful Fujifilm camera, this is the XP140. It's the newest in their line of the XP series. It has a 5x optical zoom, which is kind of nice. It has a little bit of zoom that you can use, which is really neat, and it's going to be clearer than your cell phone. You know, it's a nice bright color, so it's hard to lose, but it does come in a series of colors. I do believe that this camera comes in the yellow color, it comes in white, comes in black and blue, and I believe it comes in black and gray as well, in case you don't want the really bright, pretty colors. But this is a really neat camera. It's a fantastic camera to get for your kids that are, wanting to take pictures, but you don't want to buy them a big fancy camera. They can use this in the pool, they can drop it, and it should be okay. But yeah, it's extremely durable and fairly easy to use, so we're going to go over that today. So you can see that it has a very minimal amount going on the front and the sides. The only thing going in on this side is going to be the door for the battery and the memory card. And you see there, this has a locking mechanism right here, which allows you to push the button down and turn, which allows the door to pop right open. Now, because this is waterproof, you want to make sure that it's nice and sealed up before it goes into the water at all. But you just push down to take the card out, and then the battery, you can just hit the little switch here and it pops right out there. You have an HDMI port, which allows you to show pictures on a television screen if you want to show off your pictures to family or friends. And then this camera does have a USB cable to be able to charge the battery in camera, which is how you're going to charge it here. Now, you can get an external charger for this battery. If you wanted to do that, it is sold separately. Otherwise, this is just what it comes with. And what's nice is when you purchase this camera from select camera stores, you actually get a free 16 gigabyte card from Fuji, which is really neat. So it really gives you everything that you need to start with. Going to the bottom of the camera here, you can see that it still has that universal tripod mount. So if you wanted to get like a GoPro float stick, or something along that line where it gives you more of a handle to hold on to instead of this, you can hold on to the handle here while swimming or traveling. You could absolutely do that. Going to the top of the camera here, you can see that we have 3 simple buttons here. You have your on and off button, which when turned on, it will prompt you to check that battery door and make sure it's locked, which is really nice that it gives you that reminder there. It has your video button here, which gives you a little video camera to let you know that's exactly what it's for. You push it once to start recording, you push it again to stop recording. Very simple. And then this, of course, is going to be your shutter button. You push halfway down to focus. It'll give you a little beep, and then you push all the way down to take a picture. And that pretty much sums up the top of the camera. Going to the back of the camera here, as you can see, we have a W button and a T button. The T button is going to stand for telephoto. So if we hit that button, it's going to zoom out. And if we hit the W button, it's going to zoom back. So that's how you're going to use that 5x optical zoom there, is with that W and T button, which is really nice. The playback button is going to allow you to see pictures that you've already taken. Naturally, I don't have any pictures on this card at the moment, but if there were, you could just hit your directional pad here to go backward or forward through your pictures. Very simple. Also, your universal escape button, if you're stuck in any menus or you just want to get back to taking pictures, all you have to do is hit this shutter button halfway down and it gets right back into picture taking mode, which is nice. We have our shortcut buttons here. So if we hit up, this is going to allow us to change our exposure. So we can make it brighter by pushing up or darker by pushing down. You know, just by adjusting those, you can make it a little bit brighter or darker depending on your situation. If we hit to the right, this is going to control our flash. So you can either have auto flash, forced flash on. I wouldn't worry about the slow synchronized flash. And then you have forced flash off, which I'm not a huge fan of the built-in flash. So that's just my preference. But if you need it in a jam, it's there. If you hit down where you see this little timer here, this of course is going to adjust your timer. So you have 2-second timer, 10-second timer. You have face auto shutter, which once it sees a face, it's going to take a picture. Great for selfies. So smile shutter, so if it detects a smile, it will take the picture. Buddy, which is, I guess, going to detect your buddy, which is interesting. That one I'm gonna have to test out. I'm not really positive on that one. And then you have a group, which once it detects 3 or more people, then you can, then it will take the picture. Otherwise, you can just keep the timer off. Your function button, FN, you can actually program this to be whatever you want to be, but out of the box, it's actually going to be your filters. So this has like a fisheye filter, dynamic tones, miniature, cross screen. You have monochrome, which is black and white. But one of my favorite features on here is the partial color options. So you have partial color red, partial color orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. So if I have it on the purple and I want to use my purple mouse here, notice that on the screen, you can see the purple on the mouse, but my hand is black and white. So it only picks out a specific color and turns the rest black and white, which is really, really neat and fun to play with if you want to make your picture pop. But that's something you can find using your advanced filters. Other than that, if I want to get back to my shooting here, I want to shoot in program AE mode, but we're going to go over more of this in just a moment when we get to our menu. Down here, the last 2 buttons, you have your display button or your back button. So if you're in a menu and you want to go back, you'd use this button. Otherwise, in your shooting menu, it just changes, you know, if you want to see information or you don't want to see information. I personally like to see the information because I can see my battery level. I can see how much video I have left versus how many pictures I have left, that type of thing. Then this button here is going to control our drive mode. So you have still image. So if you click and hold the button down, it'll take 1 picture, versus continuous drive, which if I click and hold this button down, it'll take 10 pictures per second. You have 4K burst on this camera, which will take even more pictures per second. I'm not sure on the solid number on that, but it's something to play with. And then you have like your HDR mode as well, in case you wanted to play with that and see if you can really see a difference on that. Okay, and then finishing up this video, we're gonna go ahead and go into the menu here. It's gonna be the most detailed part of the camera. So starting in the shooting menu, tab 1, this is gonna be our shooting mode. So in our shooting mode, you can have it on full auto, which, you know, it's a scene recognition. So the camera is built to recognize if there's a person or a landscape, or if you're really close to a subject, so it kicks into macro or that sort of thing. I like to shoot on program mode. It gives me a little bit more control over my settings. You have multiple exposure, which allows you to combine 2 different pictures. You have portrait mode, you have portrait enhancer, which smooths skin, landscaping, you have the advanced filters, which you can also get to with the function button, your panoramic mode, You have sports mode, night on a tripod, fireworks, sunset, snow, beach, underwater, party, flower, text. So if you want to take pictures of documents, and then you're back to the top at scene recognition. So it really just depends on what you want to have it on. You have your autofocus manual focus setting. So you can change your focus mode depending if you want it to be multi, which is front focus, a specific area, or if you want to track motion. You can change your face and eye detection. So if you're taking pictures of family or people, it's built to recognize faces and make them the priority for focusing. Then of course you have autofocus illuminator, which is going to be this little LED light here, which shines out when it needs help autofocusing. You can turn that on or off. There's release type. There's your ISO, so you can set your image sensitivity. Personally, I wouldn't go any higher than 800 on this, just to be safe when it comes to noise. Now, image size, this is just going to basically be your ratio. So 4x3 is going to be the most common alongside 3x2. They're very similar. And then 16:9 is going to be like widescreen. And then of course 1x1 is going to be like for Instagram. So if you wanted to be prime for Instagram, you could do it that way. But personally, I like the 4x3. It's going to be the closest to like an 8x10 sort of ratio size. You have image quality, which this camera does limit you to JPEG only. It does not have an option for RAW. So it is a very simple, easy camera to use. You would do any light editing on your phone or just, you know, basic brightness, contrast sort of set edits. You have Fine Pix Color, which allows you to pick different sort of like almost film settings, I guess, connected to their Fujifilm. So you have standard chrome, which is black and white, different sort of black and white, and then you have sepia. So not a ton of options there, but they're there. Self timer, which you can also get by pushing down on the dial here. Interval time shooting, you have time lapse if you want to do that. Your white balance, which I would just keep on auto personally. Your flash setup, which again you can get to by just pushing right. Your movie setup, which is really just pushing this red button that we went over earlier. Image stabilization, you want to keep that on whenever you're using this handheld. You would turn it off whenever it's on a tripod. Wireless communication, this is going to be, of course, for connecting it to your phone to transfer pictures, sharing on social media, sharing with friends and family. And then the intelligent digital zoom, I would always keep that off because it really just takes away the quality of your image. And then we're going to go ahead and go into the last two tabs here, which is going to be your setup menu. You can choose your date and time, time difference, the language. If you did something funny on the camera and you don't know how to change it back, you can always reset your camera settings to factory of how you pulled it out of the box. This can be really handy when you're on vacation and nobody knows how to work your camera. You can always just go and reset, start over, no big deal. Sound and flash, if you want that click click sound to be on when you take the picture. Sound setup, screen setup, your function settings, so that function button here, the one that's currently attached to those shooting modes. You can get to that, you can change what you want that to be just by going to your setup menu. Power management helps save battery, save data setup, your connection setting, and then format is going to be the last thing on there. I do want to go over format. It's pretty important to get to know because a lot of people either never learn what it is or they find out the hard way. So it's really important to kind of go over what format means. But essentially when you go on vacation with this camera, you get home, you make sure that your pictures are backed up to a source on your computer, whether it be an online source or an external hard drive, and you want to start over with the card, right? You're going out with your friends, you want to have a fresh card, you know, without any of the old pictures on it. Instead of going to the trash can, which of course is right next to our exposure compensation, so on the playback menu, if we hit up where the trash can is, it's going to allow you to delete pictures. Instead of doing that to all of your pictures, you want to go in and format it. Because when you delete with a trash can, it deletes the visual picture but stores the data and allows you to kind of overwrite it over and over again. That can cause corruption, it can cause your card to lock up, it can cause you to lose images. So to avoid that, what you do is you go to format and it permanently deletes all the pictures on there, refreshes it to a brand new card, and you don't have to worry about any problems lying ahead. Now, don't get obsessive over it. Don't, depend on formatting it every time you take a few pictures. It's just every now and then when you get back from vacation, you've stored your pictures, you want to start over, go in and format. There's no problem just deleting some of the blurry pictures while you're on your vacation. It's just when you want to start over completely. Formatting is very important. Other than that, this may be one of my fastest walkthroughs yet, because this is an extremely simple camera. It's very easy to learn. It's very durable. It's waterproof, which is really neat. It does have 4K ability. But overall, I'd say this is a great little family camera, especially if you want to just hand it to your kids and go, yeah, go and take a few shots. You don't have to worry about it breaking or anything like that. At least to an extent. But if you guys have any questions about this camera, please leave your question below in the comments. I'd be happy to get to you. And keep your eye out for inspiration, Shutterbugs. Bye.